Hello, my name is Dr. Darnell, and welcome to this video about elements of management. At the end of this session, you will be able to explain the levels of management, define the skills and tasks of management, explain the ethics of management, discuss the social responsibilities of management, and summarize examples of management and ethical choices. What is a manager? Well, a manager is someone whose primary responsibility is to carry out the management process. The manager plans, makes decisions, organizes, leads, and controls human, financial, and physical information resources. Managerial work is fast-paced, uncertain, and filled with interruptions and fragmented activities. The tasks performed by a manager every day are varied and intense. However, managers who are able to make good decisions in a short amount of time find a great deal of satisfaction in their jobs. How are managers different from non-manager employees? Well, members of an organization can be divided into two broad categories. The first is non-managerial employees. They work directly on task and do not oversee the work of others. Examples include a cashier at a home improvement store, or someone who takes your order at a coffee shop, or someone who's doing skilled labor on an assembly line. They may be called associates, team members, or contributors. The second category is managers. Managers direct and oversee the activities of people in the organization. A manager's job isn't about personal achievement, it's about helping others do their work. This distinction doesn't mean, however, that managers don't ever work directly on tasks. They do sometimes very often. Levels of management. Top managers are those at or near the top of an organization who make strategic decisions about the direction of the organization and establish policies and philosophies that affect all organizational members. Top managers are responsible for making decisions about the direction of the organization and establishing policies that affect all organizational members. These managers make important decisions about which activities the organization should be involved in, such as acquisition, research and development, and expanding capacity. Top managers have titles including Vice President, Managing Director, Chief Operating Officer or COO, Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Chancellor, and etc. This level of management sometimes is referred to as the C level of management. Middle managers represent levels of management between the first line supervisor and top management. Middle management is any level that falls between the lowest and highest levels of management within the organization. Middle management may consist of several layers in a large organization and constitutes the largest group of managers at most companies. These managers hold positions such as plant manager, operations manager, and division lead. Middle managers are responsible for translating strategy and goals by top managers that are set by top managers into specific detailed tasks that lower level managers can oversee. They often manage other managers and sometimes non-managerial employees. Typical job titles for middle managers include agency head, unit chief, division manager, or program manager. First-line managers are responsible for directing the day-to-day activities of non-managerial operating employees. They often have job titles such as foreman, supervisor, or office manager. The majority of their work is direct supervision of the work of their subordinates. Team leaders are a special category of lower-level managers that have become more common as organizations have moved to using employee teams to do their work. Team leaders are responsible for managing and facilitating activities of a work team, and they typically report to a first-line manager. There are many types of managers who manage different areas of the organization. Marketing managers work in areas related to the marketing function of the organization, and they help find ways to get customers and clients to buy the organization's products. Financial managers deal primarily with the organization's financial resources and are involved in such activities as accounting, cash management, and investments. Operations managers are concerned with creating and managing the systems that create the organization's products and services. They achieve their goals through production control, inventory control, quality control, and plant site selection and layout. Human resource managers are responsible for hiring and developing employees. They are concerned with the flow of employees into the organization, such as selection and recruitment, through the organization, such as training and development, compensation and benefits, and performance and appraisal, and employees leaving the organization, known as discharging. Administrative managers are generalists who have some basic familiarity with all functional areas of management rather than specialized training in any given area. Specialist managers include other kinds of managers, such as public relations managers who deal with the public and media on behalf of their firm, and research and development managers who coordinate activities of scientists and engineers working on specific projects. Managers play 10 different roles falling into 3 basic categories of interpersonal, informational, and decisional. Interpersonal roles, such as figurehead, leader, liaison, all involve dealing with people. A figurehead represents the organization through ceremonial and symbolic activities. A leader encourages employees to improve productivity and shows them how to do it, and a liaison coordinates the activities of 2 or more people, groups of people, or organizations. Informational roles, the roles of monitor, disseminator, and spokesperson, all involve processing information. A monitor actively seeks information that may be valuable to the organization. A disseminator transmits information to others within the organization. And a spokesperson transmits information to people outside the unit or outside the organization. For example, in their spokesperson role, a CEO may represent the firms in advertising, and a recent example is Bill Ford of Ford Motors, who represents, you can see him on commercials for Ford motor cars around the world. Decisional roles, the roles of entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resource allocator, and negotiator, all relate to making decisions. The entrepreneur role develops new ideas and initiates changes in the organization. A disturbance handler handles problems that arise, such as strikes, copyright infringements, and energy shortages. A resource allocator determines who should receive the valuable resources and who should have access to the manager's time. A negotiator represents the organization in a negotiation setting, such as collective bargaining for a union contract or developing an agreement with a consultant. Managerial skills, fundamental managerial skills. So what are they? Well, there's technical skills. These are skills necessary to accomplish or understand the specific kind of work being done in an organization. Managers must know and understand all aspects of the task assigned to those they supervise. They must have the technical skills necessary for understanding. A person who does not understand how a computer works should not qualify to train computer technicians. Interpersonal skills, the ability to communicate with, understand, and motivate both individuals and groups. The ability to get along with subordinates, peers, and bosses exemplify interpersonal skills. A manager with strong interpersonal skills may develop strong relationships with clients, thus cementing their loyalty. Conceptual skills, the manager's ability to think in the abstract. This includes the mental capacity to understand the big picture or the overall workings of the organization and its environment. A manager's conceptual ability allows the team to see the organization as whole and compared to how all of the other parts work together. Managers appreciate the work done in other departments when they have strong conceptual abilities. For example, Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, has excellent conceptual skills. His skills are often credited with keeping the software giant at the forefront of its industry. Diagnostic skills. The manager's ability to visualize the most appropriate response to a situation. Diagnostic skills enable managers to recognize potential problems and develop appropriate solutions. If a manufacturing line has an area of work backs up, diagnostic skills allow the manager to identify both the problem and correct the solution. Communication skills. This is the manager's ability to effectively convey ideas and information to others, and to effectively receive ideas and information from others. Effectively conveying and receiving ideas and information defines good communication skills. A manager who keeps their team informed and listens to any problems is an effective communicator. Decision-making skills. It's the manager's ability to correctly recognize and define problems and opportunities, and then select appropriate course of action to solve problems and capitalize on opportunities. Decision-making skills involve the ability to correctly recognize and define problems and opportunities, and select a course of action to solve problems or capitalize on opportunities. Offering new items at a customer's request exemplifies good decision-making skills. Time management skills. This refers to the manager's ability to prioritize and work efficiently and to delegate. Delegating authority for making routine daily decisions allows the manager more time for focusing on other projects. Sources of managerial skills. Most managers acquire their skills as a result of education experience. Though a few CEOs today do not hold college degrees, most students preparing for management careers earn college degrees and may go on to enroll in BA programs. The role of education. Education plays an important part in the development of a manager. Many managers have a bachelor's degree or an MBA, and others have returned to school to participate in management development programs or intensive training about a particular area. Developing a store of knowledge about a field of management is the goal of management education. The role of experience. Experience is just as important as education. Just because a manager has a solid understanding of the field of management doesn't mean he or she will be a successful manager. Management skills must be learned through experience. Facing the day-to-day pressures of a managerial position leads to the development of insights that cannot be learned from books. This combination of education and experience results in new abilities that are applied in the organization. Thus, experiences are amplified through lifelong learning and job experiences. Managerial ethics. Managerial ethics deals with internal values that are a part of corporate culture and shape decisions concerning social responsibility with respect to the external environment. Ethical behavior falls into three categories. Codified law, the values and standards that are written into the legal system and are enforceable in the courts. Lawmakers have ruled that people and corporations must behave in a certain way, such as obtaining licenses or paying taxes. Free choice. Free choice pertains to behavior about which law has no say and for which an individual or organization enjoys complete freedom. Ethics. Ethics lies between the domains of codified law and free choice. It has no specific laws, but does have standards of conduct that are based on shared principles and values about moral conduct that guide an individual or a company. Because ethical standards are not codified, disagreements and dilemmas about proper behavior often occur. Ethics is the code of moral principles and values that govern behaviors of right and wrong. Ethics sets standards as to what is good or bad in conducting decision making. An ethical issue is present in a situation where the actions of the person or the organization may harm or benefit the other. The ethical manager typically displays four main types of ethical behavior. There's honesty and integrity. communicates and enforces ethical standards, fair in decision and distribution of rewards, shows kindness, compassion, and concern for the needs and feelings of others. Ethics is difficult to define in a precise way. In a general sense, ethics is the code of moral principles and values that govern the behavior of a person or a group with respect to what is right or wrong. Ethics sets standards as to what is good or bad in the conduct of decision making. The pervasiveness of ethical lapses during the first decade of this century have been astounding. Although public confidence in business managers in particular, is at an all-time low, politics, sports, and nonprofit organizations have all been affected. In the business world, the names of once revered companies have become synonymous with greed, deceit, irresponsibility, and lack of moral conscience. Managers carry a tremendous responsibility for setting the ethical climate in the organization and can act as role models for others. The widespread ethical lapses of the past decade have put managers under increasing scrutiny. Some of the ethical lapses include failures that occurred at AG, Lehman Brothers, Enron, Bear Stearns, Countrywide Mortgage, and WorldCom. Unethical decisions made by managers at these and other companies have resulted in stockholders, employees, and investors losing huge sums of money, and in some cases the company itself was destroyed. Management and social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, or CSR, is the management's obligation to make choices and take actions that will contribute to the welfare and interest of society, not just the organization. It can be difficult to understand and apply CSR because managers must confront the question, responsibility to whom? Social responsibility means distinguishing right from wrong, and it means being a good corporate citizen. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, is the management's obligation to make choices and take actions that will contribute to the welfare and interest of society as well as the organization. Social responsibility can be a difficult concept to grasp because people have different beliefs about what actions to improve society's welfare. Social responsibility covers a wide range of issues that are ambiguous with regard to what is right or wrong. In response to the question of whom is the organization's response, well, it's the organizational stakeholders. Organizational stakeholders in enlightened organizations view the internal and external environment as having a variety of stakeholders. A stakeholder is any group within or outside the organization that has a stake in the organization's performance. Each stakeholder has a different criterion of responsiveness because it has different interest in the organization. There's a growing interest in stakeholder mapping. It's a technique that provides a systematic way to identify the expectations, the need, the importance, and the relative power and influence of various stakeholders. The organization's performance affects the stakeholders, and socially responsible organizations try to pay attention to all stakeholders who are affected by their organizations. Stakeholders can have a tremendous effect on the organization's performance and success. Today, special interest groups continue to be one of the largest stakeholder concerns that companies face. Environmental responsibility has become a primary issue as both businesses and publics acknowledge the damage that has been done to our environment. Let's look at an example. Let's examine the manager and some ethical choices. An ethical dilemma arises when a situation concerning right or wrong values are in conflict, and right or wrong cannot be clearly defined. An individual who must make an ethical choice in an organization is a moral agent. Managers faced with tough ethical choices often benefit from a normative strategy based on norms and values to guide their decision making. Normative ethics is based on norms and values. Ethical or unethical business practices usually reflect values, attitudes, and beliefs and behavior patterns of the organizational culture. Ethics is as much an organizational issue as a personal one. The stages of moral development. Let's look at the figure there. Levels 1 through levels 3. The pre-conventional level, at this level, the manager is concerned with external rewards and punishment and obeys authority to avoid detrimental personal consequences. These managers are likely to be autocratic or coercive. At the conventional level, managers learn to conform to the expectations of good behavior as defined by colleagues, friends, family, and society. These managers are interested in interpersonal relationships and cooperations. Then there's the third level, the post-conventional level, also called the principled level. At this level, individuals develop an internal set of standards and values and will disobey rules or laws that violate these principles. Internal values are more important than expectations of significant others. These managers typically use a transformative or a servant leadership style. The great majority of managers operate at the conventional level. A few managers have not advanced beyond the pre-conventional level. Only about 20% of American adults reach the principled level of moral development. Then there's giving versus taking. When managers operate from a higher level of social development, they use a form of servant leadership, focused on the needs of followers and encouraging others to think for themselves. Research has shown that people will work harder and more effectively for people who put others' interests at the needs above their own. The shift towards admiring and rewarding others, givers over takers, can bring significant positive changes within organizations. The simple categories of giver and taker help people understand how they might contribute or detract from an organization's ethical culture. Imagine yourself in a situation of being encouraged by colleagues to inflate your expense account. What factors do you think would influence your decision? In this session, we explained the levels of management. We defined the skills and tasks of management. We explained the ethics of management. We discussed the social responsibilities of management and summarized examples of management and ethical choices. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.